Happy holidays, fellow gamers. It's Jay with GXP, and today we are talking about true combat power, how you can find that information inside your unit attributes. And don't forget to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages because I'll be putting graphics from today's video on there. So here we go. For today's video, I have 5 points that I'm going to cover. First, we're going to be going over the attributes that you see right in front of you. Before we start, let me say, everyone's always talking about what hero combo. But before we can actually get into the hero combo, I want to go over some base mechanics that originate out of the unit attributes. Combat power starts with your formation, your legion, and it breaks down from there. Your individual squads are where the units that you're assigning to them, the troop type, the troop level, the hero, the gear, and all the technology, all of that is the basis. Troop might and troop resistance are the key factors, because with troop might and troop resistance, it's actually referring to when you go inside the actual troop, this attack and defense. That's what normal or basic attack refers to. That's what the normal resistance or basic resistance refers to. And each troop type is different. So it is very important to understand that the basis for your combat power starts in those numbers. Assigned heroes have leadership skills. Skills 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7. And these leadership skills increase or do something to the base troop, whether it's their base attributes for might, resistance, or just capacity. What comes next outside of just the base troops assigned to them is the tactical skills that come with them, the combat skills. And that's where each hero is very different from one another. So understanding what that hero's tactical skills are and how it helps you in battle is instrumental to how you structure that formation. The squad, the hero, and how the hero works with those troops, and how the hero works with other heroes in that formation. That is ultimately what we're trying to understand, and the unit attributes that are affected by the assigned hero. There are development heroes and there are combat heroes. Combat heroes is what I'm focused on when we're talking about combat power. And your legendaries, your OGs that you get in the beginning, they have 8 skills. And from there, every season of ROC Eden, you get new seasonal heroes. They still have 8 skills. The individual hero skills that are the combat skills are typically 2, 5, and 8. And you want to understand what those skills are because there's 4 different types. There's a prep skill, there's a status skill, there's the combat skill, and then there's the advanced or additional skill. I'll get into each one of those, but let me jump into Hurricane real quick, or William Wallace. Combat skills have ranges. So that tells you where you put them inside of the squads. So if they're really strong with HP and they have really short, meaning 1-2 range, you want them as your frontline heroes. If they have a range of 3 to 5, you can put them in the middle row. And if they have a range of 4 and 5, you can put them in the back row. Understanding how those ranges affect their ability to hit the enemy is important on where they go in the Legion. Combat skills are skills that upon the beginning of a round are determined if they're going to get triggered or not. Each combat skill has some functionality. William Wallace has a 40% chance to do 249% damage to multiple enemy targets. And that's 249% damage to each target that it hits. So you're asking yourself, how do you know how much actually that is? You don't. Because it's based off of your base troops. So depending on what troops you have in there, and then it's got several other factors that the war engine does. So there's really no way for you to know exactly how many kills that's going to be or exactly how much damage that's going to be. You only know there's a 4 out of 10 chance that you're going to hit 2 squads and do 249% damage to each one of those squads. That's all you really get to know until you go into the battle. Later in this video, I'll show you a battle report and show you the damage and kind of reverse engineer that a little bit so you understand it. But for right now, that's the best you get in predetermining. Second, his 5th combat skill, it's a range of 5. It does 2 random enemy targets. There's an 80% chance, so 8 out of 10 times it's going to fire. And you're going to do 130% damage to multiple targets. So 249 of its base damage increased, and now 130% of its base damage increase. You can see how they're starting to add up. It's starting to be quite a good amount of damage as long as it's being triggered. First one, 4 of 10. Second one, 8 of 10. So you can see the random probabilities cause issues, but it's still a decent amount of power. His 8th combat skill is a range of 5. It's 1 random squad, and this is a prep. Technically, I would say that this is a prep skill because it requires 1 turn to start. And so when the round begins, it doesn't activate. It does get called. So you'll see it pop up in the battle report. But because it requires a prep turn, it's not going to happen that round. It's going to happen the following round. And when you have prep turn skills, that's actually channeling. You're channeling the skill for the next round. And in this situation, it's a 50% chance to do 667% damage to 1 enemy squad. So 5 out of 10 times, it's going to activate. It's a prep, so it's not going to activate first round. But if it does activate first round, it will go into effect second round. And you'll have a 50% chance to do 667% damage. That's a good amount of damage. Okay? Now, if we look at Heaven's Justice and we look at his skills, range 5, valid for any units, 1 random squad. It's a 45% chance to do 450% damage. So highly focused on 1 squad. 5th skill is prep turn. So it's a prep skill. 35% chance. So 4 times out of 10. 200% damage to 3 enemy squads. So massive amount of damage across the Legion instead of highly focused. And also we'll be able to do pierced armor, which lowers resistance. And that pierced armor goes into 2 turns. So it's a skill when it activates. Not only will the prep turn make it wait 1 round, but it will activate and do a large amount of damage to everyone. And it has the lowering of resistance for its round and the next round. So now there's no real way for you to keep track of everything that's going on, but knowing that 30% lower might is going to be beneficial to you, that's good. Those are good skills. Let's look at his Mortal Coil, his Mortal Coil 8th skill, which is a 55% chance, so a little bit over half, 5 out of 10 times, to do 506% damage to 2 enemy squads on turns 3, 5, and 8. Okay, so it's not a prep skill, so those are automatic. So if you do get it to activate, which is 1 out of 2 times, it's going to activate. So 3, 5, and 8, you're getting massive damage to 2 additional targets. Good damage amount. I put Justice in the back row. I put Hurricane in the middle row. And for my first row, I would do North Rage. Reason why I would do North Rage is because of this skill right here under his leadership skill. When it's active and fully maxed, his squad gets 7% HP. So as a first row, he's already stronger, harder to kill. And his 7th skill, when fully activated, is 15% HP to the entire Legion. So he's stronger on the front row just because of his 7% HP. And the entire Legion gets another 15% HP. So that's 22% HP. Tactical might and tactical resistance are a part of every battle, but they are only for the skills. When you're in Eden or even ROC and you're attacking buildings, bridges, gates, you don't want siege might. You want tactical might or tactical resistance. When you've played this game for a little bit and you've gone through the ROC and Eden seasons, you will start getting better heroes or seasonal heroes. And just like the OGs, each one of those skills are unique. So understanding the vast difference between the skills is super important to know how combos work. Skills that increase damage and the higher percentage and the higher chance of hitting, that's what I focus on to understand how good a killer that hero can be. Outside of that is evade, evasion, suppression, clarity, and sober. Those are the 3 other skills that counter and have good across the board abilities. Take a look at the graphics and see what each skill does. If you see other skills, let me know and I'll add it to the graphics as we grow. So far to this point, we've covered what basic might or normal might, normal resistance, what tactical might and tactical resistance are. And these are basics for the game. If you just started out, hopefully that was helpful. From here, I'm going to get a little bit more advanced. We've started going into seasons. I've been playing a year now, so we're really going to jump into some of the details of some of these seasonal heroes. Okay, so let's take, for instance, Desert Storm. His combat skill starts to do things that normal OGs don't do. All right, so if we look at what happens when he's maxed, on turn 1, 3, and 5, all enemy squads enter cursed, burning, or poisoned. And they get dealt 24%, 29%, and 34% damage on corresponding attacks. And that lasts the entire battle. So this is a prep skill. So I can see on turn 1, 3, and 5 that those durations, those turns, are going to have these counter attacks. So when the person's basic attack, their normal troop attack happens, they're going to have something happen to them. And when they have their skill attack against you, something's going to happen. So understanding what cursed, burning, and poisoned is how you determine if it's a normal return or if it's a skills return of damage. Cursed is both, where basically both the skill and the normal attack get damage returned to them. Skill 5, this is going to target the Legion, and within that Legion, 2 of the friendly squads are going to recover from the damage that has been dealt to them. And at 84%, it's just helping you not die off as fast as the later rounds come around. And then his 8th skill, 100% chance to deal 243% damage to an enemy squad, and then interrupt channeling skills. So this is where any skill that has been a prep skill that required a turn but has yet to fire, this can interrupt that. Now, let's take a look at Jade. Jade, both these are footman specific. They're really good for Eden and doing damage to gates, buildings, etc. So when you're talking Eden and skills, you want the combat skills to help you. Now, Jade has this 1-turn prep skill, but what's crazy about it is how it stacks, okay? You have a 40% chance to attack 6 times. Each attack randomly selects a squad within the range and deals 153% damage. Now, let's look at its max for damage. Its max damage is 112 plus whatever the hero level is. So if you're at a 50, that's, 162%. Not bad. And it's a 40% chance, so 4 out of 10 times it's going to hit. And you're going to do 6 attacks. That's pretty outstanding, okay? And these are skill attacks, so even better. The next one, which is the status skill for her, it has a squad increase of damage. So it does 10% damage, but it also stacks every single time. So as long as she stays alive and her troops stay healthy, she's going to keep increasing the damage that she does. So she's fairly weak in the beginning, but by the end of the 10th round, she now has 100% damage in effect because of the stacking. You're not going to get to 10 rounds, 8 rounds max, but you understand the principle. And then her final skill. This is a 40% chance to deal 160% damage to 2 enemy squads. But she will also give the curse status to an enemy squad who will suffer 80% damage to the combat skills for 2 turns. So not a huge amount of damage that she's doing herself, but the cursed is returning 80% damage received. And it's doing it for 2 turns. And a lot of people talk about Immortal. The combination that people run, which is Beast Queen, Rosen, Immortal, the reason why they do that combo is because that trio is heavily focused on damage. Immortal's 8th skill is an 80% damage increase to the entire Legion. He is only specific for Cavalry. Same with Beast Queen, same with Rosen. So his 8th skill giving that additional 80% boost on top of him dealing 465% damage as an additional attack is huge. Now, he also has the ability to silence. Silence is not as good as suppression, but it's still a chance to stop the enemy's skills from activating. Okay? And then this one, which is basically a 40% chance to do 2 additional attacks of 348% after his normal and original skill attack. He's a killer. He puts so much damage into effect. Rosen is good because she does debuffing. So she's doing suppression. She is first 3 turns increasing the combat speed. I'll go over combat speed, but that is important because being a damage dealing trio and having the addition of combat speed, that makes them go first and do more damage. Beast Queen increases everyone's damage, and she does 80% first round and goes down 25% after that for each round for the first 4 rounds. So that's basically 80, 60, 40, and 20% additional damage. When the normal troops attack, they will also do additional damage to the 2 rows behind their target. So if they're hitting the first row, they're doing additional damage to the second and third row using that sputter. The front row cavalry gets 70% chance to enter a counterattack or counterattack state and deal back 250% damage. That's going to kill their troops off fast. The first 4 rounds with this trio is tough, and archers are excellent killers. Jade Eagle is giving out this 60% chance to do 863% damage, but most of his skills are all prep skills. This one's kind of unique. Depending on who he's fighting, this skill will have various things that can happen. Footman with recovery, that would make the skills from Jade, from Desert Storm's recovery not work. But it is a 1-turn prep, so because he can interrupt that prep, that's why it doesn't work so well against Desert Storm. Archers are, like I said, great killers, but their downside is their resistance. They don't have a lot of resistance, And even worse, their HP is the lowest of all troops. So putting them into formations that are being dealt heavy damage, they are prone to dying. Find heroes that add HP the best you can, or gear to make them stronger. I'm not going to go into a lot of heroes. I just kind of wanted to go over some of the more complicated skills. And now let's jump into combat speed. When you attack troops, you have your attributes, and those attributes, the number one thing that starts the order of the fighting sequence is combat speed. So having more combat speed than your enemy means you go first. Each hero in the squad is evaluated for their combat speed rating, and whoever has the highest goes first, second goes second, third, and so on. Let me show you this report real quick. Inside the unit attributes, this section here is combat speed. So if you have a higher rating for this assigned squad, it goes first. Inside the battle, you will see right off the bat, who goes first is the one with the highest combat speed. My enemy had all three of their squads with higher combat speed. And per the topic of this whole conversation about your combat power being found in your unit attributes, this battle report explains it all. So inside the icon being the normal basic attack, the normal resistance defense, those are your troops right there. This is your tactical might and tactical resistance, which are your hero skills. And these are specific to the assigned hero of that squad. HP, combat speed, and damage. Damage that you're getting from equipment, or if we look at this side, this is from technology. All right, so anytime you click on the bar, it'll tell you where that information is coming from and what's increasing it. So I will look at doing another video for just where all of that information comes from. But you can see in this report, you know, I've got HP increase of 95% here, where this is only 88%. Again, that's North Rage getting that extra 7%. Desert Storm would have an extra 15%. These attributes are essential. Now, this is where the game's war engine takes over and is very hard to understand. But the basic mechanics are, if you kill more and have more survive, you won. Now, this combat power that they list, that is actually how many troops you lost. It's not a real number because it's a set number. You have X amount of combat power per unit, so every kill costs you that much power. Where it really matters is in the skills. So if we talk about the hero and the skills and how much kill they did, you start to understand how strong the hero skills or tactical skills of that hero is. But what you're not seeing is you're not seeing the information about the normal troop battle. So when I break it down, where I take the number of skill kills away from the total number of kills, what's left over is my normal kills. And in this specific battle, you can see that my normal troops did not kill near as many as the enemy I was fighting. They almost doubled me in kills. But my enemy also did not have heroes with skills, so they didn't get any skill kills. So my skill kills killed all the remainder, which helped me win. So understanding how to break that battle down, where your unit power, your unit attribute power is coming from, how strong your actual troops did against their troops, and the skills that you do against their skills. That is understanding true combat power. And I hope that helps. I know this has been a really long segment, but combat power is what we all are trying to figure out. So hopefully this helps you understand it a little bit better. I will, like I said, dig into where unit attribute improvements come from. I will also maybe do a individual hero series. If you have any feedback, please hit me up in YouTube, on Facebook, and Instagram. It doesn't matter. I want you to be able to contact and connect with me. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of holidays. Happy New Year's. Jay with GXP, I'm out.